Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode here on ESGNet as we're back here for NCAA Football 14, and this is the Highland team builder, Scotties Sports Talk here today, episode 49, as we're going to take a quick look here at week 1 here in season number 5 as the Highland Scotties get ready for this 5th season of their existence here in NCAA, as they are currently ranked number 6 in the nation. And they're going to be in week 1 action against the Iowa Hawkeyes. As you take a look there, we are the favorite in this one, as we are the ranked team here this year against between these two teams. And there you see B overall rating, but a B plus and a B plus for defense and offense, as they are B, B, B minus. And of course, this is their first game of the season. Now this will be a home game there at Highland. And it should be a good one here. Hopefully everyone is able to come out and show some support for the Highland Scotties, as they are returning as a 3-time national champions. Just take a look there. That is the Iowa Hawkeyes schedule this season. But there you see Mansell, Jones, and a couple others there are your top scorers there for them from last year. As for us, well, we got some role players that we need to look at. Saunders is one of those role players, our corner there. He's a senior redshirt here. He's probably one of the last few guys when we started this series who have been there since the very beginning. And he is finally making his presence known here, even more so this year than he did last year, as he is our corner here, our starting corner. And he will be in action. Take a look at his numbers there. That's a guy definitely we got to watch out for, and hopefully he can have big games for us in our secondary. And it's going to be very important for him to put some pressure on the wide receivers, and of course from time to time come in for some blitz packages. Perry Alexander, of course, last year he was a junior redshirt. Last year, now a senior redshirt, 5'10", 187 pounds. And he's a guy that we thought was going to be an impact player for us at the very beginning of the season, but unfortunately Alexander had some injuries and he was out for quite a bit of the season. Now he is back here for his senior year, and we're hoping that we can put those injuries aside there from last season and really have him step up, as I believe he was just a couple yards shy of having 500 yards for the season. This year he is going to be a key aspect to us in the running game to help out this gentleman right here, Jasper Reed. If you guys remember, Jasper was recruited back a couple of years ago, and now he is finally getting a chance here as a redshirt sophomore to be the QB of this squad. Now Jasper's dad, of course, passed away a couple of years ago, as he was in the armed forces there in, I believe, in the Pakistan and or the Afghan war, right a couple of years after 9/11. And Jasper, of course, dedicates his season to his dad, and of course he wears the number 12 to honor his dad. His dad wore the same number when he was in high school and never really got a chance to play at college. This young man here, take a look at his numbers there, really good numbers here, and this will be his first year on the field as our QB, and he has quite a big shoes to fill after have to take the reins from Rush and of course Flanagan from 2 years ago. Shane Weaver, of course, you guys know him. I've been saying his name quite a few times here in this series, and he is definitely a young man that's been showing up here quite a bit on the tackling there, right outside linebacker. We may move him to the middle linebacker at some point, but I think right now we're going to just have him in there at the right side outside linebacker. 6'2", 230 pounds, redshirt senior. This young man here, as you see, got excellent hit power, stamina. Needs some help in his zone there still, but he's up there in man also. A young man that's a very key asset to us on defense. He's the defensive leader there, and we're hoping to see a lot more of him coming up this season. As for the other running back last year who took over the running back position, Matt Davison, 6'1", 218 pounds, redshirt sophomore, had a really good year there. He came close to 1,000 yards, I believe. I think he had like 900 some odd yards last season. Had the most rushing touchdowns for us for the season, and really, I kind of wish we just continue using him towards the end, but we had to give Perry Alexander a chance to show his worth, as he was still a QB, or still the halfback number 1, Matt now this year, him and Perry will be sharing carries here, and whoever has the best carries going into week 5, which is our bye week, will probably be our guy that we'll stick with for the rest of the season. There you see his numbers: spin move 95, juke moves, excellent juke moves there from him, and great stamina also. Jeremy Little, junior red shirt, he is our wide receiver number 1. And take a look at his stats here from last year. Just came up shy there of 1,000 yards with 987 yards, 14 touchdowns, and his longest reception 80 yards. Jeremy Little, well, he was a huge player there who helped us quite a bit there at the start of it, especially mentoring Godfrey there, which we'll see his numbers here in just a bit, the freshman from last year who just from the get-go, from game 1, just really jumped out and made a huge noise there for us. But Jeremy Little, our veteran, and he should be doing quite well for himself. I'm hoping this year we can get him 1,000 yards and get him somewhere close to 15 touchdowns for the season. His counterpart here, Chad Godfrey, as I mentioned earlier, true sophomore this year. We're hoping that he can avoid the sophomore slump. 6'1", 209 pounds. This young man, like I said, from his freshman year, from day 1, doing the two-a-days and stuff like that, he's always had an upbeat attitude, ready to play, ready to go out there and step up at all times, and to do what he does there. Over 1,000 yards last season, actually 1,177 yards to be exact. 13 touchdowns there this season. I'm hoping we can get him to about 20 touchdowns. Now, the only thing I have with him is he does like to drop passes, especially when he's open. He has been working with the jug machine and, of course, with his quarterbacks here this season. And he actually looked pretty good during spring ball and, of course, during the summer. So we're hoping that will translate to in the fall here when we actually get into play. Ramirez, your tight end, who was, of course, tight end number 2, as Marcel left last year, left this, or not with us this season, as he's now entered the draft. And there you see Ramirez now. Just a couple yards short of getting 1,000 yards, but had 7 touchdowns. He knows how important he is in this offense. He knows he's a release valve for the QB when it comes to play action and such. And Ramirez knows this. He's had experience being a QB, being a tight end there for quite a while, as Marcel was hurt in the middle of the season there, and he knows what to do to step up and what it takes to be the tight end that we need for the type of offense that we run. So it's going to be really important for him to stay healthy and stay on pace and have the same kind of season, but also at the same time excel from what he did last year as a true freshman. Now he is now tight end number 1. So it's going to be really important for him to stay healthy and be there when we need him, and especially in third down situations and goal line, which we use the tight ends quite often. So then you see his numbers there, and of course we're hoping he'll get better. By a lot of people are saying he could be easily, if he has a decent season this year, he could be in the as a first round type of tight end there for a lot of NFL teams. There you see the preseason. Stanford, of course, your number 1 team in the nation, followed by Florida State, Georgia, Florida, Ohio State, of course, right number 6, Michigan, Oklahoma, Auburn, LSU, Texas, and several others there. As we go on down to number 25, and it's Clemson there for the 25th ranked school in the nation. There you see the guys there for the Heisman this year. We're hoping to get some Heisman Trophy candidates in there and involved. And, of course, one of the first people we're going to be meeting this season, besides Page there at LSU, but we're going to be meeting Jones here in this first game coming up, as we'll take on Iowa. And Jones is a tough runner there, as he had a great year. Well over 1,000 yards for him on the ground. Of course, several touchdowns. I want to say somewhere around 22 touchdowns on the ground. And he is definitely going to be a guy that we have to shut down quickly if we have any shot at him, or stopping him in a game, and make sure he does not do any damage to us. There you see the first week of games. There, not too many top 25 teams on this one. You got a great game there between Georgia and LSU. And then you got Baylor, SMU, and of course Colorado and Colorado State in their epic Civil War game there. And then Florida and Bama playing in week 1 now. Oh, even Stanford playing in week 1 against Rice. So we got some pretty good games coming up in week 1. Not everybody, of course, is playing in week 1, but for the most part here, a lot of pretty decent matchups, some early rivalry games coming up. And like I said, it should be a good one there, especially for us against Iowa coming up in the next episode, which will be episode 71, if I'm not mistaken. It started season 5. Of course, remember we are in the Big 12 this season. Big 12 play will, I believe, start in week 5 for everyone there in the Big 12. And of course, the 2 new schools, us, Highland, and also BYU. Both teams will be in the North. Both teams will face each other in the very last week of the regular season. So that should be fun there. And of course, start a new rivalry between those 2 schools that they have met each other already now. This will be their 3rd meeting coming up this year. Of course, we're going to play against Kansas and Kansas State. I believe this year we host Kansas, and this year we go to K-State. So that should be a fun little 3-team rivalry within the state of Kansas. Now we'll take a look here at some of the Iowa players there. Notably, Noah Clayberg, senior, redshirt, 5'11", 214 pounds. He's a strong safety. And this kid, he is a killer. He's a hard hitter. Take a look, play recognition. Oh, it's not too big of a hard hitter, but he definitely can fly around the field if he needs to. Great, excellent play rec. And there you see, great press. And he is definitely a guy that we're definitely going to have to avoid. Of course, he will be, sizing up little, maybe even sizing up against Godfrey there in some plays there. And of course, Jones, we talked about earlier, 6 foot, 211 pounds, senior. There you see his numbers from last season. He came close to having 20 touchdowns. He had 17 for the season. He had 1,388 yards on the ground. And like I said, he is a guy who, if you don't get him the 2nd or 3rd time, well, you might as well say he's done. You're done for, because he is a bruiser. He's a good runner, and he will run you over if need be. So we have to stop him. We got to control that running game, force the QB to throw, and throw quite often. Now, I will tell you there are 2 wide receivers here. I don't know if you guys remember us, or actually recruits that you guys submitted, and this will be the first time we've actually got to see them here, and we'll talk about those here in just a bit. But there you see Jones's numbers there, and like I said, he's up for the Heisman this year. I believe he was in 3rd place in last year's running for the Heisman, so he is definitely trying to make a run here in his last year to get to the Heisman Trophy and take that home to the people of Iowa City and the rest of the Iowa Hawkeye community. But there you see his numbers, and great spin, and of course a decent juke there for him. And he's, like I said, he's around, he's a big guy, but at the same time he's a bruiser when it comes to running. Mansell, there you see Peyton Mansell, 6'3", 214 pounds, redshirt senior. And there you see the numbers he has put up these last couple of years. Last year, 2,522 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He had a rough start there at the beginning of it, but then once the season was on its way, he kind of settled down there and really had a big game there in the bowl. I can't remember exactly what bowl game they were in, but they were eligible for a bowl game last year and had a pretty good win in that one. I can't really remember who we played against, but I do remember seeing the stats there for that game, and they were pretty remarkable there. And of course, he is being looked at for the NFL draft next season, a possible late 1 or maybe even an early 2nd round pick. Zion Brown, a guy that we were trying to recruit a couple years ago, actually 3 years ago. 6'4", 222 pounds. This is a recruit that you guys submitted. I can't remember exactly who submitted it, but there you see his numbers there. 24 receptions just last year. He got his first start as a true sophomore coming in here to play. And there you see the rest of his numbers. Only 5 drop passes there, as he had wasn't able to play his freshman or senior year, but he is now going to play here. Or actually, he did play, but he did not start, I should say. But last year was his first year actually starting, and there you see his numbers that he has put up here, or I should say his ratings here this season. He is one of those guys that Selman is going to throw quite often. Not really pretty much the first play. He's going to throw to him, and as we looked at some tape leading up to this broadcast here, and this young man has some great hands and great ability, or agility, all that kind of stuff. The type of wide receiver you want to have: a big, tall, and strong wide receiver who can get down the field there. Now, speed's not the best, his acceleration is not too bad, but he is definitely one of those guys that's going to be a headache for us if we do not have him in control. He could have a 200 type of day with with a couple of touchdowns underneath his belt, and he can really just minimize us and neutralize us as much as possible. Same way with Jalen Munoz, 6'1", 214 pounds. He's a junior. This will be his third year playing. There you see his numbers from last season: 383 for yardage with 3 touchdowns and 52 longest reception, 52 yards. But this kid is also a gamer. He's a kid that just loves playing this sport, especially this position, and he is highly skillful there. I believe he's going to be in the slot position for them, and he can slip through defenses like nobody's business there. He's kind of a quiet assassin when he comes out on the field here and plays his game. And you see great awareness there. He knows where he's at on the field at all times. Route running's pretty decent there. So is the catch and traffic, along with spectacular catch. But yeah, again, he is going to be a guy that we're just going to have to really, linebackers are going to really have a tough day with him, and trying to make sure they can keep him wrapped up. I'm sure we're going to have to use a lot of zone defenses with these two out there to really, or even if we do have to have a man type of defense, we'll have to figure out who we're going to have to double coverage and kind of go from there. So this week 1 game, personally, it's at home. We are the favorites of this one, and we are one of the toughest places to play as we got a 23 game home winning streak on the line here. So we don't want to end that here, especially against this Iowa team. But I will say this is going to be a tough game. It's not going to be an easy going game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be an offensive type of game, as pretty much both teams' offenses are pretty explosive. So it's going to come down to, it's going to minimize down to who makes the mistakes, who can capitalize on those mistakes, and run away with the game and basically have possession of the ball towards the end of the game. So it's going to be really important for Highland to do all those right things to get the victory here in this one. I will say this will probably be a field goal type of game. I look at the numbers there, looking at some of the game film from last year, especially from the Iowa Hawkeyes point of view. This could be a field goal game, and that is something that Coach Teddy Bonds does not want to get into. But he's the type of guy, he's in for the dog fight, and he just hopes he's the better dog on that day when they do have to fight. But that is it for this episode of the Highland Scotties Sports Talk. Next time we'll have a Highland Sports Talk. It will be a recruiting special. We'll talk more about that, but that's further down the line. But later all week long here, it is going to be Scotties Week, and we'll showcase some of the players that you guys have recruited or have submitted, and also some players that myself and of course 2 of my buddies, Taylor and Steve, have come up with, and we'll show you guys those in 2 separate videos as they're custom recruits that you guys have submitted. Of course, we have created that we're going to try to see if we can get onto the team here. So there's going to be some players that going to have some unique backgrounds and stories, and I will show you guys their stats and stuff like that coming up here. I believe I think the first one is tomorrow here on the channel. So stay tuned for that and much more here with Highland Scotties. It is Highland Scotties week, all week long. And we'll have the first, I think, 2 games this week here against Iowa and then against Hawaii coming up there. And we'll talk more about that later on. But that is it for this episode of the Highland Scotties Sports Talk. If you guys did enjoy today's episode, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you happen to be new. Hit that bell notification so you guys be notified of this series or any other series on the channel. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord for the latest news and events on what's going on here on the channel and what's going on in the world of sports and sports gaming in general. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and definitely check us out also on Patreon if you want to be a Patreon member. That's the best way you guys can be a recruit automatically. There are 3 tiers there starting at $1 a month, and just have to check those out, and then that's how you guys can be guaranteed onto the team here in this series or any future series of any kind here on the channel. And also on the other channel, second channel, the which is our LP channel. Definitely check that out over there, as you guys can check that out and see what that is all about. But that is it for this episode of the Highland Scotties Sports Talk here. Definitely check out the other channel too, ESGNet LP. But as always, keep yourselves and each other healthy, and I will see you guys next time.